Hi everybody, my name is Dominic Palazzolo and I'm the owner of Marvelous Molds. And you know what? I just want to show you something. We've got something new as always, and I want to start out by showing you one of our new designs. So I have my dummy cake here, and as you can see, this is a new Simpress. But I'm hoping you notice that we have a 6-inch tall cake here, and our Simpress is now 6 inches tall, so you can really use them easily on tall cakes. But don't worry, you can still use the Simpress on 4-inch tall cakes too. But I really don't want to talk much. I just want to show you this design because we really went over the top on this. Are you ready? Okay. Time to reveal our new Simpress that we're calling the V-Petal Ruffle. And there you have it. This beautiful, intricate, lovely design that was created by Lin Tran. I'm going to tell you about her a little later. But as you can see, we have these big, beautiful panels, and as always, they go together seamlessly. All you have to do once you apply a panel is just push them together in order to eliminate that gap. And there you have it, the V-Petal Ruffle. And all of this can be created by pressing it into a mold and then applying it panel by panel onto a cake. So, how do you use this amazing mold? Well, I want to show you that. But first, let me talk about the person who created this design. The V-Petal Ruffle was created by Lin Tran, a world-renowned cake decorator whose unique style and vision has been recognized around the world. Violet has been decorating cakes since 2008, and her creations and tutorials have graced the covers of many cake magazines, and she has received prestigious awards that identify her as a unique and supremely talented cake artist. Here is Violet's original V-Petal Ruffle tutorial that appeared in Cake Masters magazine. As you can see from these steps for the original technique, you have to cut and glue and fold and trim and then place each element individually on the cake one at a time. You can imagine how time-consuming this process is, and that is why we decided to capture this amazing design in a Simpress mold. Now, all you have to do is press fondant in this amazing mold and apply V-Petal Ruffle panels to your cake in a fraction of the time. So, how do you make a V-Petal Ruffle panel? Well, let me show you. So I have my Simpress here, and as you can see, I've already pressed fondant inside, and I'd just like to review that when you press your fondant into the panel, first what you want to do is you want to dust the mold with cornstarch, not a lot, just a powder coat. And then when you're pressing the fondant, what you want to do is press and keep your fingers there, and you'll feel that fondant going right down into those designs. It's kind of cool actually. A Simpress has very deep details, and so what you want to do is you want to coax that fondant down into those details like that. Okay? You can use the back or the palm of your hand and really push hard, okay? Because we need to capture all of those beautiful ruffles, all that great detail, okay? Now, All Marvelous molds are self-trimming molds. So if we press on the side of the mold, either with the palm of our hand or we use a fondant smoother and we press down and just press in a circular motion, those trimming blades will cut right through the fondant and you can remove the excess very quickly and cleanly. So now let me show you a little trick, okay? We're going to turn this over and we're going to look through the mold in order to make sure that we've captured every detail and that fondant has been pushed in where it needs to go. So what you want to do is you want to look for light areas, okay? And then what you can do is press those areas to make sure that you have captured every V-Petal Ruffle. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn that over, and this is something that I really like to teach. What we're going to do is we're going to bevel the edges of the panels by pushing on the outside of the trimming blade into the actual panel itself. And that's going to put a nice bevel on the sides of your fondant panel. So why is this important? Well, when you put a bevel on the fondant panel, when you're putting the panel on the cake, that's how you ensure you get a seamless connection from one panel to the next. So now we have our Simpress filled with fondant, and I want to show you an alternate way of putting a fondant panel on the cake, okay? So you saw earlier in the film, I used the whole panel and I applied it to the cake. But there's another way, and that way involves unmolding your fondant, okay? Just unmold it from the Simpress. And it's amazing how sturdy the fondant panel is. Did you see how easily I turned that over? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply shortening on the back, but you can use your favorite edible glue. It doesn't really matter. Just something that helps the panel of fondant stick onto your cake. All right, now I'm going to set that aside and let me bring in the cake again. Now, as you can see, this is an 8-inch diameter cake, and we have 3 panels. 4 panels will cover the cake, okay? But oftentimes when we try to make an 8-inch diameter cake, it turns out to be 8.5 inches. So, you know, it's very difficult to get exact diameters. And that has an effect on the width that you're going to have here. And so that's why I'm showing you this method. Because when I take this fondant panel out of the mold, what I want to do is I just want to park it right next to the panel that I put on that cake. I want to get it nice and close. And now what I can do is I can adjust the length of this panel so that it fits perfectly and fills the gap on your cake just like that. And now you have a seamless application. Do you see that? There's no need to make a new Simpress panel and cut a little 1-inch wide strip to fill the gap. Because you use that method, you have a perfectly covered cake, just like you see here. Okay, so how do we make a 4-inch tall cake? Well, let me show you. Here I have a Simpress, and as you can see, I haven't filled it all the way. I don't want to really spend the time, because why make a 6-inch panel when I only need a 4? So On the Simpress, if you look on the unmolding lip, you'll see that we've marked that side with a 2-inch mark and a 4-inch mark and even a 6-inch mark, which makes it very easy for you to size the panel to the size of your cake. So that is a visual cue for you. What you do is take a tool and you want to mark where your 4-inch height is on the panel. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to unmold the panel, and we're going to make sure that we know exactly where our 4-inch mark is. Now I'm going to take, you can use a wheel knife, you can use your favorite cutting tool. I'm just going to line it up right on the 4-inch mark, and I'm going to trim that excess off. We're going to put that aside, and now we have a perfect 4-inch panel. You can either apply your edible glue or shortening on the back and apply it out, free from the mold. I guess we would call that freehand, okay? Or what you can do is actually put it right back into the mold by laying it down on there and just gently going side to side. And the fondant panel will reseat right down in there, okay? And you're going to have a nice stable Simpress that you can use to put on the cake like you saw me do in the beginning of this video. So, how does a 4-inch cake look? Well, there you go. As you can see, the V-Petal Ruffle looks amazing on a 4-inch cake. It looks amazing on anything. I'll tell you what, this would look really great on cupcakes as a border on a cake. It's just a beautiful, beautiful design, and it's over the top. It represents really high-end cake decorating, and it's so easy to use. You just fill the mold and put it on your cake, and then sit back and just get the compliments. So, Violet has made some cakes that we want to show you now to give you an idea of how the V-Petal Ruffle Simpress can be used on all different types of cakes. One of the questions I get when working with a Simpress is, how thick should I roll out the fondant? Okay, and that's a really easy thing to know or to do. Here's the method that I recommend. Just roll out your fondant and then take your Simpress and turn it upside down and bring it up over your rolled out fondant. Let me do it on this side. It captures better. Just bring it right over the top, and the fondant should be a little less or thinner than the gap between the bottom of your unmolding lip and your work surface. And when you make it just a little less than that gap, it's always perfect. So use whatever Simpress you have, just use that method and you'll have the exact thickness that you need. Well, there you have it. The V-Petal Ruffle Simpress, now in a 6-inch size for tall cakes. I'd really like to thank you for watching. And as I always say, stay tuned. We're always coming out with something new to help you achieve greatness in cake decorating.